It's Al Williamson with leadinglandlord.com. Have you ever wondered which is better, midterm rentals or short-term rentals? Which one's going to give you the most profit? Well, that's what I wanted to talk with you about today. I want to share with you my conclusion and how I arrived at it when it comes to profitability between the two. And also, stick around to the end. I want to give you a summary of the differences that I've collected over the years between midterm rentals and short-term rentals, because the differences are major and you want to know about them up front as soon as possible. Okay, let's start off by talking about profitability. Now, I arrived at this conclusion back when I started with Airbnb in 2011. Back then, it was real bed and breakfasty type of thing. I was overseeing construction of these solar panel plant on Alcatraz Island. I was working as a civil engineer, and I was jumping around San Francisco, staying at different Airbnbs, and people wanted to spend time with me. They wanted to talk to me and have that real bed and breakfast exchange. So it was great being a guest at the time, but I knew I didn't want to be a host. Now, that was until 2015. That's when Airbnb launched his Business Travel Ready campaign, and they would give you this little badge that put on your listing and promote you to business travelers. So if you weren't sharing the unit, they would promote you, and that was perfect for landlords now. That's when I got all in, was when business travel rolled out in 2015. So I set up at my apartment complex where I do all my experiments, and I set up inside of my 2-bed, 2-bath unit. I furnished it, and I really like this unit, and I still like it a lot now because the bedrooms are separated but by the bathroom, so that gives people a lot of privacy. I like that. And if you're traveling with a coworker and not, a lover or a pair of couples, then you want that privacy, and you want to save some of your housing allowance as a business traveler, so you would want to share it with your fellow employees. So this unit's become very popular for us. Now let's talk about profitability. Let's talk about revenue, but we got to start with this. Let this blue bar be revenue you collect. This is your total rents that are paid to you, and then this red bar is your expenses, and the net income is the difference between income minus expenses. That's what's the difference there. Most people on YouTube are only talking about revenue, only talking about their rents, and they talk to you about the millions that they're making, and to get your attention. And I understand that, but I don't know about you. I only care about net income. So this conversation is going to be just about net income. All right, in this graph here, we're going to let this blue square be the revenue, and then the red star be the net income. And let's go into this graph here. Now, along this horizontal x-axis, let's let that be workload or hassle per hour or hassle factor, because there is work involved with doing short-term rentals. You have to be there and inspect and do different things. And I like less hassle. So this is the direction that I like. I like fewer amount of hassle. And this y-axis is just all net income, because that's all I care about is net income. And if I can end up in this category here where the star is, that's the winning location. Now, I started off as a regular landlord, and that's where I was charging $850 for that place. So I wasn't paying any of the utilities at the time, no electric or gas. Those are the things the tenants pay for. And then I started with Airbnb, but this is back in 2015. And I had 3 people stay with me the first month. That was great. Look at my revenue. It was $1,000 more, and I was loving that. I thought this was really, really good. But you know something? Family time is expensive, and I was losing family time going over maintaining those properties, and you got to take that into account. I say you have to at least pay yourself at least what you would pay a handyman. So after paying the electrical and the gas expenses and me going over there, and also the extra insurance, I passed through cleaning costs. That's a pass-through cost. I came up with $1,475, which is really, really good. That beats $850 a lot. So I was doing really, really well. Now, what happened from here was that I got a request for 1 month. And that's like, wow, okay, let me do that. Now I know I could stand to make $18.50 per month, so let me just give them a $200 discount and see if they're happy with that, and see if that makes sense for me. So that's what I did. I offered them $1,650 per month, and they took it. I worked my numbers after they left, and it was $1,410. And I was comparing that from the previous month, and I was like, you know what? That's about essentially the same thing. That's really the same number net income wise, but it didn't take me a lot more work. It was a lot easier on my family, a lot easier on me coming, because I used to come home and then I had to go check on my units to make sure it was straight before someone else moved in. And I always had this cloud of anxiousness when people are coming and going. So I said, I'm only going to do 1 month stays. I'm going to optimize my listing and just do 1 month stays, and that's going to be it for me. Because I like the rhythm, the slower rhythm is better, and the net income is essentially the same. So that's what I did, and I attracted the attention of a travel nurse. Now that meant that since they were going to be there for 3 months, that I could take my initial setup costs that took all my time, and then I could spread that out over 3 months. So that means my expenses was going down. And when your expenses go down, your net income goes up. So that's what happened to me. That's why you see in this 3 month extended stay, where the net income is $1,625 per month. That's more than the Airbnb when my net income was $1,475. So I'm like, that's all I'm doing. For me, in a regular community, I'm in Sacramento, California. I'm not on a beach or anything like that. I'm not in a major tourist destination. For me, it's more profitable for me to do midterm stays than it is to do these shorter stays. And it's a lot easier on my family too, which is the most important thing. Now, here's what I promised you. Since 2015, these are the things I think are the biggest differences between MTRs and short-term rentals, between midterm rentals and short-term rentals. One is that with short-term rentals, there's a lot of frequent activity. With midterm, no, it's like once a month you can expect something. And for shorter-term stays, you're trying to pack people in, you're trying to get extra payments for extra people staying. And with midterm stays, you really don't want to do that. The fewer people that stay in your unit, the better. And there's a lot of competition with shorter stays. There's a lot of people doing regular Airbnb, and there's less competition with people doing midterm rentals. That's really cool. And here's the biggest thing is that when people are staying shorter times, they often are paying out of pocket for that stay. And when people are staying longer, the folks that I'm focusing on have their employers pay for their stay. So they have a different attitude, a more laid backness to it. And my job is to help them save some of their housing allowance. So we're on the same team now. They want to make money. I'm trying to help them make money. They're being relaxed about things. So it's really, really what I like to do. It fits me. Airbnb is great, but you really want to know how to live without it. That's why you need to watch this next video coming up. It's going to show you what you should do in case Airbnb collapses, and it's also going to help you be less reliant on Airbnb. Check out this video.